We're just going to get started in just a second as we wait for everybody to join. We've got a lot of people coming in today. So while we're waiting, we're just going to take a quick moment to pay homage to chiropractic, as most of you might know, or maybe you wouldn't till you wake up and realize tomorrow. But tomorrow is our traditionally celebrated chiropractic birthday. So 130 years ago tomorrow, D.D. Palmer delivered what's now known as that first chiropractic adjustment. So super exciting. I think that he would be pretty intrigued by our webinar today. And we couldn't let the beginning go here in the day pass without acknowledging that. So thanks for being here to celebrate that with us today. And I hope that you guys learn a lot today and get excited about Rio as I am.
Good. Thanks, Dr. Stephanie. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining our Rio AI Assistant webinar today. My name is Debbie Brooks, and I'm a Senior Marketing Manager with ChiroTouch. Today, we're going to be covering many things that Rio can do for your practice today and provide a sneak peek of what's more to come. So you've heard from Dr. Stephanie. I want to formally introduce you. She is our Customer Onboarding Manager here at ChiroTouch. She's also a practicing chiropractor. She has 16 years of experience, and she brings firsthand insight and expertise to support our new clients coming on board with the ChiroTouch platform. In addition, she is the host of our ChiroTouch podcast, ChiroCast. That's available on most streaming platforms. Hi, Dr. Stephanie. I also want to introduce Alec Webster. He is one of our finest product managers here at ChiroTouch. He's been with us for over 2 years, and he works directly with a team of software engineers to build new features in the platform. His team is primarily focused on using AI to enhance the ChiroTouch functionality and experience for our customers. So with that, I think it's time to get started. Alec, I'm going to hand off the controls to you to get us going.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. So I am so excited to be speaking with all of you today and to have the opportunity to highlight the latest Rio features that my teams have built in ChiroTouch. So in today's webinar, Dr. Stephanie Brown and I are going to review Rio's AI features, what they are, where to find them, and how they can benefit your practice, as well as what's coming next. So let's start. What is Rio? So Rio is a suite of AI features designed specifically for chiropractors. So it's the collection of AI features that are available to you as part of your service for no additional cost. So far the feedback has been really awesome. So we love hearing the positive reviews and the constructive feedback in order to continue making these AI features even better. I'll say that one customer mentioned, my notes went from 10 minutes down to 1 to 2. I'm saving around an hour and a half per day. Feels like I'm getting a free day off every week. If you're not using it, you're missing out. So with that, I'll jump right into one of our more popular features that we've been working on, AI Scribe. I want to spend time today really focused on demoing these features, getting into the app and showing how you can use it. So we'll start with AI Scribe. So what is it? AI Scribe is an AI-powered assistant that listens during chiropractic visits and automatically creates soap notes, saving you time and administrative burden. So how have we done this? We've developed a technology that transcribes audio. So whether you've got a setting where you've got the patient and provider, or whether you're doing this after the visit as a provider, we transcribe the audio. And then we use AI to create a beautiful, thorough chiropractic soap note. Okay, so you're probably wondering, when is this available? So we are currently releasing to cloud customers through the month of September, right? So we're just kind of through that halfway point. And then I'm also really excited to announce that this will be available to our server classic customer base, and we will gradually release this over the next 3 months for classic. So really excited that we're able to do that for classic as well. Note that AI solutions are much harder to implement on a server-based product. So CT Classic will receive AI Scribe, while the full Rio feature suite will be only available on CT Cloud. All right, and with that, I want to jump into a pre-recorded demo that Stephanie and I did. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Hey, Alec, how's it going today?
Hey, Dr. Steph, it's going really well. I haven't seen you in a bit. My family's doing really well. I got to tell you, my sister, she just announced she's pregnant. She's
Oh,
having a girl.
congratulations. Good.
Yeah, thanks. And I've got cat's doing well. As she's just turned 4. How's your dog doing?
Oh, he's great. Thanks for asking. He actually has a birthday this week. He's going to be the big 1-4, so that's fun. All right. Well, let's get down to business. How has your neck been doing?
My neck is still bothering me from that pickleball injury a couple weeks ago. It's on that right side that I kind of pulled it, but it is getting better.
Okay, great. What words would you use to describe it today, the way it feels? And then also, what number would you rate it?
In terms of pain, I'd say it's probably a 4 out of 10. So it's not too terrible, but it's definitely there consistently. It's a constant pain, and it feels kind of achy as well.
Okay, got it. And it doesn't refer into the arms. Hasn't started doing that, right?
No, no, it doesn't.
Okay, good. And still no headaches?
No headaches.
Okay, great. Well, let's check some things out. So you have some tight muscles here in the neck and in the upper back on both sides, but definitely worse on the right, like in the levator and the traps. Did those feel tender to you?
Yeah, those are really sore.
Okay, yeah. Also, your neck range of motion here is restricted. So it looks like you're having trouble looking to the right and like leaning your head to that right side. So I'm finding some primary restrictions at C5 and T3 and some secondary restrictions in the pelvis on the right side, like your right pelvis is in a PI position and L5 on the right also. So lots of stuff on the right today. All right, well, it seems like you just kind of have a continuation of that injury from before. So we're going to get you adjusted. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks for helping me out today.
Oh, yeah, of course. All right, let's see. We're going to do a diversified adjustments at C5 on the right, T3 in extension, and at L5 on the right as well. And then we'll use the drop piece to adjust that right ilium. And I think you should come back in about 3 days. Would that work for you?
Yeah, that would. Would I just schedule that with the front desk?
Yeah, definitely. Just pop out there and they will take care of everything.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Steph. I really appreciate it. All right. And so with that, I'm going to jump over to share what that looks like in ChiroTouch so we can show you how you can sync that visit to your chart note. All right, so it was really just that easy to use AI Scribe. So we were showing you an example of how you would do it with the patient. And it's so great because you don't have to type or use macros. It's going to capture everything that the patient's saying. So it's an ambient scribe, and it's going to capture all that detail and then only include what's relevant in the chart note. So I'm going to show you how to access AI Scribe. So you'll go to charting. You can pull up that encounter that we were just working with. So I'll open that up. And so if you've got AI Scribe, you'll see this button at the top here of your chart notes section. If you've recorded with this encounter before, the button will say View Session. If you have not, it'll say AI Scribe. So I can go ahead and open that up. It'll take me into the chart notes and open up this window here, which I can move around. So this is Rio AI Scribe. You can see we've got the full transcript listed. So you can see we were talking about my cat and Dr. Stephanie's dog and my sister being pregnant, right? So all those details are here. But when I go to the SOAP note, it's only going to include that relevant information. So I move over to the next tab. And I can see that we've selected one of the templates here, new patient auto accident. I can change that to any one of our 4 template types. So I might use the paragraph format. Right, and what you can see here is AI Scribe will create a subjective, objective assessment and plan, all based on that audio recording that Stephanie and I did. Right, a couple other notes I want to make. So you want to make sure that you've got the right mic selected. You can change that here at the top. You'll know if you've got the right mic because you'll see some animation here. So you can see, even though I'm not currently recording, this animation is going to be active. So that'll help you tell that you're recording correctly. We use this big blue button to start the transcript. And then you've got a message here. AI can make mistakes. Please review before saving. So you can go in here and make any additional changes. You can, add more detail and make sure you review the note. You can also just review the note in the EHR, whatever is your preference. So it's super simple to change any of these default template types. So if you actually want to use the bullet point format, you can play around and see what you prefer most. This is how we are prompting AI, right? So we've given you 4 good options to create your SOAP note. I can change this to bullet point and see how that's listed here, or whatever I prefer. So I mentioned that this is ambient listening. So here in the subjective, you can see that we're not talking about my sister being pregnant or other details as I'm catching up with the patient. It's just that relevant information for the SOAP note. And then I want to show you how to sync. So if I'm looking at this looks great. I can then click the blue button here, save to chart note. And this will append to any detail that's been listed here before. So if I've got a previous salted note, if I've got macros there, we'll add in this information at the end of my note. And then I can simply click save and close. And then we see that full SOAP note listed here, SOANP. All right, so I'm super excited to continue to roll this out. We've received a ton of really great feedback. We're going to continue to improve AI Scribe. We're going to make the prompts and templates even better. We're adding more chiro-specific vocabulary, really leveraging this awesome data set that we have for chiropractic. And I want to point out that we're very much listening to your feedback. So please use the in-app surveys to share what you think about AI Scribe, what's working well for you. And that allows us and our teams to improve the feature. So for cloud, we are working on building out custom templates, right? I showed you 4 preset templates. We're looking at ways to give you more flexibility with custom prompts and more custom settings that fit your charting needs. And then we're also looking at innovative ways to combine the AI Scribe output with the previously salted encounter note as well as macros, right? So we know that you're using patient self-check-in, maybe the AI intake narratives to create subjectives. And we're looking at ways where we can combine that information in a way that's really seamless for you, that doesn't require too much editing and cleaning up after using AI Scribe. All right, one last detail. I want to mention that it is important to get patient consent before recording with AI Scribe. So whether it's written or verbal, really depends on regulations in your area. So California, for example, is a 2-party state. You should have both provider and patient consent before recording. So what we've done for practices that have CTN forms, we've added a new consent form, Rio AI Scribe patient consent here. So this just establishes, let's go back and open that up again. So this is something that you can use during your intake process. This basically says, our practice uses Rio AI Scribe by ChiroTouch. It's a technology that securely listens during your visit so that, the healthcare provider can really focus on the patient care versus charting. And so this captures the conversation in real time. And only the transcript is used, right? So we're not storing audio. We're only storing that most recent transcript. And then we're handling that data in compliance with HIPAA and other privacy laws, right? So your data is securely transmitted and we're using the latest industry standard safeguards, right? So this is something that you could use during your intake process. Let me show you how you can pull this up. So you'll be able to pull this down from the consent library by going to standard forms, searching Rio, and you'll be able to import that consent form right here in CTN Forms. So you don't have to use this, but it's an option for you if you would like. I do want to mention one other detail here. So if you are back-to-back with patients, you're using AI Scribe, like I mentioned, you'll be able to see that you've recorded with AI Scribe because it says view session. If you don't have enough time to sync and save that previously recorded session to your chart, you can always come back to it, right? So we're going to store the most recent transcript. If you re-record, we would then update this and you would lose that latest transcript. So if you're busy, you don't have time to sync a review, you can always come back to it and pull up a different encounter so that you move quickly. All right. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie to cover what AI Scribe looks like in Classic.
Thanks, Alec. Yeah, so the AI Scribe piece of Rio will be available on this server-based program. So just a few things before we jump into the demo, which I am going to do live here. We're in the provider all-in-one, so I do not have to double-click to open up into the chart note section. I don't have to do that. You're going to, once your system is updated, which you will have to have an active maintenance and support contract for, this Rio AI Scribe option is going to appear right above the chart note. So this will be where you access Rio to pull it up. And also it will only interface with the SOAP version or format of the note. So Classic does support the single note format, but Rio does not interface with that. So Rio is going to interface with the SOAP format as long as you've got your settings set up for that. Also, really quick, for those of you that might use that iPad app once in a while, Rio won't be part of the app. So this is going to be available on your PC, on the computers, right in your office. So a lot of people ask us questions about microphones. So do you have to have a microphone? The answer honestly is no. The way I've been using it, I just have the built-in microphone that came in my laptop and it's working perfect. I also do have an iPad. I am using Chiro Touch Cloud, so the web-based version. Rio does work great through the Chiro Touch Cloud web-based version with the microphone that's built into the iPad. So I've tested both of those. They work wonderfully. There are situations where you might want to wear a microphone. If you were with us at FCA, you saw me wearing a little Bluetooth lapel microphone. So they were relatively inexpensive. We just had a bunch of them from Amazon, and I just clipped it to my shirt and it worked great. So there are scenarios where that might be your preference, and you can absolutely do that. And we recommend that you do it if you just want to be sure, but it's up to you to just double check your hardware and make sure that you have a functioning microphone. So let's get into just a quick demo here so that you guys can see how this goes live. So that's what would have happened. We had a recording that we played for the cloud one, but the window here looks pretty similar. And we're just going to click start transcribing in a second here. I'm just going to read through a visit and then we'll see how it goes into the note here. Just a quick note, my scenario is going to be just a regular daily visit. So we do have a lot of offices that have been in the early access group that have been using this for new patient visits and re-exams. But that most common use case of a daily visit is also really great as well. Also, you guys will know, I'm just going to read through this. So if doing this in real time with a patient for whatever reason is not what your preference is, or the patient doesn't want you to do that, you can use Rio as sort of like a smart transcription. So it's not going to write exactly the words that you're saying, but just like it would be listening to a conversation, it's going to listen to what you say and then form it into a note for you. So let's do it. So we're going to click start, and then I'm actually first going to switch my option here to that bullet point format, and we're going to jump in. We'll click continue on that patient consent. All right, so patient presented today with a chief complaint of low back pain. They stated it was 4 out of 10 and described it as dull, achy, and sometimes sharp. It's worse with prolonged walking. Rest makes it better, and it does not disturb their sleep. They stated they do feel improved since their last visit. Lumbar range of motion was restricted in right rotation and left lateral flexion. Lumbar paraspinals and glute medius bilaterally were hypertonic and also reported as tender by the patient. Restrictions were found at T6 in extension, L5 in right rotation, and the sacrum on the right. T6 and L5 were adjusted via diversified chiropractic adjustments, and the sacrum was adjusted with a drop piece. The patient was instructed to return in 3 days. All right, that's it. So as we just let it process here, I went through that relatively quickly. It doesn't take very long at all. So that is a super convenient way. Like if you're just sitting down to catch up on notes at the end of the day, or again, if you're not doing it in real time with your patient, you can use it just separately like that by yourself. We've got the same little note here. AI can make mistakes. So you always want to proofread your note because you are the one with the chiropractic license and not the computer. So you guys can see it organized what I just read to it into a pretty nice note. And I've got everything I needed. I'm just going to click save to chart note, and it put it right in there for me. If I click once to open up my chart note area, I can now use my macros if I wanted to append or add to what's here. If there was something I wanted to add, or I just like my macros for one particular thing better and I wanted to use the macros, to add to the note, you can still do that here if you'd like to. So some of the feedback we're getting, and my own feedback, but people have said this is a game changer. I enjoy doing SOAP notes now. I do have to say, when I first got it, it was a lot of fun. Every time you click that button and it just slaps all that info in there, it's very cool. And more importantly, it's a ridiculously efficient tool that has helped make things go so much faster for myself. So you'd still continue through your note like normal and hop on to your next patient. So that is going to be what that looks like in Classic. We're going to return to Cloud here now. One of the other features that is within Rio for ChiroTouch Cloud is going to be the AI intake narrative. So if you have informs, your patient has filled out that digital paperwork, whether it was at home ahead of time or right inside your office. When you come into their chart note here, if you click once right on there, and forgive me, everybody, I didn't delete my note. So let me just clear all of this out. We're good. There is a little drop down here. So if I click on that, it's showing me my intake form. So the old way in Cloud was either to copy all of this to chart notes or go through and find the section that you want to manually copy over. But now we have the AI option. So if you just hover over this blue AI narrative button, it gives you 3 different options for how it'll summarize the information to put into your chart note. So if I just click brief AI summary, it's going to read through that intake form the patient sent to me. And it's going to just put like a shorter paragraph here for me to look at. And if I say, yep, that's what I want, then I can copy that to my chart note. Now, maybe I look at that and I say, no, that's not thorough enough. I want more, or I don't like that format. No big deal. I just hover back over it again. There's the detailed and the structured option. So I'll click structured, and it's just going to go through that intake form and put it into a different format for me. I'm actually going to leave the last one here just so that you guys can see what it does. If you happen to have written something at the beginning of that visit for that patient and you just had your own notes there, that is fine. If I click copy to chart notes now with that new narrative option, it just adds it to the note that was already there. Now we know I don't need this, so I'm just going to get rid of it. But there it is. So it went through that intake form and it summarized everything that I had on there for me. The structured option is my favorite. It's just super thorough. And this one was, I mean, they're all driven by feedback from us, but this was the one that the customers had the most input on. And it organizes the content of that form into the bullet touch eval macro structure. So you guys can see these main headings here. And so that's how it's organizing it for you. This is really helpful for workers' comp or PI. Honestly, I don't do workers' comp or PI, and this is still my preferred option. So of course, I am still going to go through this because I have to make sure that it is accurate. Again, I can freehand type into this or augment it with my macros. But it took that initial kind of heavy lift of having to go through that intake form just right out of the equation for me so that I can spend more time focused on my patient and taking care of them. And so that I love this feature. It's probably the favorite thing we have besides the AI Scribe. And so if you guys don't have Informs, it's definitely a game changer and you should probably add it to your account today. But anyways, Alec is going to share with us another new feature of Rio. And if he's ready, I'm going to have him grab the screen share and take it away.
All right. Thanks, Stephanie. Love to hear about the AI intake narrative feature. We've got a ton of really great feedback from that feature that my team worked on. So excited to see practices using that and really enjoying that feature. So I want to talk about Edit with Rio. So this is a feature that we will have fully released by the end of this month. So what is Edit with Rio? So I can access Edit with Rio by going into an encounter, into my chart notes, and you'll see this Edit with Rio dropdown right here. So what does it do? It's effectively an AI chart note assistant. So it allows the provider to create and edit chart notes using AI. So you've got 4 different options when you open this up: detailed, concise, bolded, and narrative, right? So these are the predefined options. You can either highlight a specific set of text or apply this action to everything in, say, the subjective section. So if I wanted to, say, change this chief complaint from this sort of bulleted style into a more detailed or even a narrative format, I can select that option. And then AI will change that piece of text into a narrative format. What's neat about this is the team did some extra lifting to make this work with macros. So notice that we do not overwrite the macros. Your macros are still there, and you can still come in and change pieces of your macros as needed. Right. Of course, if you didn't like this isn't something that you wanted, we now have this like undo and redo options. So I can go back, right? So that's great. I have that flexibility. And then, of course, I can use any number of these options, whether I want to make all the text longer or maybe just a piece of the text longer. I can click detailed. Right, and we get a longer form, thorough chiropractic note. So it's really hands-off for you. It's not requiring you to type or add more macros, right? We wanted to make this flexible. I can also do things like, let's say, patient reports, lower back pain, involved in a surfing accident, states pain is, maybe a 7 out of 10, right? So if I make some chicken scratch notes here, because I am busy, I can highlight this, select Edit with Rio, and make this into, say, a detailed response. And I can clean up my chicken scratch notes into something that I would actually include in a SOAP note. Right, so really fast way to change your SOAP notes. I want to share where we're headed with this, because this is just version 1 of Edit with Rio. We're, again, rolling this out through this month. It's in early access for many practices. We're also going to be looking at opening up this option and giving you an open prompt. So I'm going to jump over to a prototype of what we're working on. Again, this is something that's not in the app today, but it's something that we're working on. I want to share the vision of where we're headed. So we're looking at an edit with Rheo option, right? I can select edit with Rheo. This side split panel opens up. I can highlight text as I did before, and then I can ask AI to edit or generate in any way that I want, right? So here I'm saying, let's shorten this to make it less wordy. But really the sky's the limit. You could change this in a variety of ways. I can see my recent prompts. Maybe I'm using a prompt often. We'll show that here. And then I've got all my quick actions that I showed you before about more detailed, concise narrative or bullet point format. And then I can click enter, and it just changes that text just like you saw before. So pretty excited to kind of give you this open-ended experience, almost as if you had like a chat GPT experience within ChiroTouch. We're really leaning into AI to make charting as fast, efficient, and accurate for you as possible. All right, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Stephanie to cover AI chart summary.
Great, thanks, Alec. So we are going to jump into the AI chart note summary that is part of Rio. And right now I'm in charting. I'm going to click once to open up that encounter. And I'm just going to draw your attention to the symbol at the top here where our Rio features live. So the AI chart note summary is an option up here. So this is going to be how you access that. I just want to point out it'll work anytime you see that patient's name up top here, you can access this. So this feature is a great way to summarize a patient's SOAP notes and highlight their progression of care. You know, maybe there's multiple docs in your practice and patients kind of have their favorite doctor, but someone's got vacation and they're out sick one day. So you're covering for someone in your practice. Maybe you're not super familiar with all of those patients. So you could just pop open that AI chart note summary to see sort of, you know, where they've been, where they're coming from, and where they're at now to get a quick summary. I know when I practiced full time, the doc I worked with, if one of us went away, we would have this big long meeting before we left, and we would go through every patient that was scheduled to make sure that we knew how to take care of that person. And so this will help even processes like that be so much faster and easier. You can also use this chart note summary as, you know, something that you're going to send out to other providers. So if you have a referral or you want to help build your referral network and you send summaries out to primary providers or other specialists, this can help you get that the text of the summary that you want to send out ready to do that. It'll also help if you have to do a narrative for PI or, you know, auto and workers' comp cases, or, you know, any other scenarios where you just need to see a summary. So again, it's right here with a hover, and we're going to click right on that AI chart summary. There are some filters here. If you would like to use them, you can. And if we scroll down though, it just popped it open for me immediately. Like I didn't have to do anything other than click the button. So we're just seeing a summary of primary concerns and that progression of care. This provider notes section is what I have in my provider notes. If you want to exclude that, you can. But if you would want to leave it there, you could. I probably don't need to leave dog's name is Sally to this person's lawyer. So you can certainly take those items out. But the options here are to copy. So that's going to put it right on the clipboard of your computer. Maybe you've got a letterhead or some other form that you want to paste that onto. So that'll allow you to pull that text right out of the system to paste elsewhere. If you just want to save a copy of this into this patient's documents inside the ChiroTouch Cloud here, that's what the save button will do. And then print is just going to pop it open onto another tab. And you could print this out for transmission as you see fit. Again, I noted there were some filters up here. So you can filter the date range and you could change the providers. You could say only include certain cases. And then once you do that, then you would just click this regenerate AI summary button and it will take care of rewriting it for you. So just a few notes about this. There does need to be more than one encounter. So you can't use this option if they've only been in once because there's nothing to summarize. And it's going to go through a summarization of the encounters up to a maximum of 30. So keep that in mind as you're using this feature, but it has been an amazing tool to just look back and check on patients' progressions. And I have found this to be super helpful. Even when someone hasn't been in for a while and I just want to see real quick, what did they see me for last, or what was their last kind of situation they had going on? I can pull this up either before I see them or right when I'm in the room to get a quick summary, and then just close it down. So you just click the X and then you're right back in that encounter so that you can continue with your visit. All right, I think Alec has a couple things that are going to be new and coming up that he wants to review. And so I'm going to give it back to Alec.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Super cool to see that AI chart summary. Just really neat. It's a really great use case for AI, being able to summarize tons of patient SOAP notes and do it very quickly and understand what's going on with the patient so that the provider can focus on care and move quickly. So I really think there's a lot of value in that feature. Cool. So I want to talk next about, again, where we're headed with AI. So we know the focus has been on charting. But as we look at AI, we're looking to A, do more with charting, and B, also involve billing. And so I want to talk about a new feature that's on the roadmap and coming here pretty soon. It's called Compliance Scan. So what I'm showing you here is it's a Figma design. It's not yet in the app. So we're giving Rio a brand new skill. We're calling it Compliance Scan, and this feature launches in early access in 2 weeks and goes live sometime in Q4. So it's designed in partnership with KMC University and our internal compliance subject matter experts to ensure accuracy and credibility from day one. The challenge, as you're familiar with, for chiropractors is there's high audit risk, especially on spinal manipulation codes, 98940 all the way to 98942. Those charges often don't perfectly align with documentation. So complaints, findings, diagnoses, often leading to denials or clawbacks. So what does this feature do? What am I showing here? So Compliance Scan solves this by reviewing chart notes against billed codes. So super cool that we're now looking at doing that in charting. So after completing a note, providers select this Compliance Scan option. Again, this is just a design. There's going to be some things that will likely change. But Rio will, so I'll click on Compliance Scan. I can see a pop-up here. Here we're showing, a limited number of options to do this per month. That, of course, may change. I can start the scan, and I get a notice that we're starting this compliance scan. We're reviewing those charges against the chart note. Great, and I can see scan is complete. I can view compliance. And so this slide out opens up with a compliance score. I can see a pretty good score here. There's a low risk level. And I see 2 potential issues about a code and documentation mismatch. A code was billed, but not enough regions were mentioned in the chart note. So that's something that we might be able to do in this feature. And then we're also seeing that the SOAP note lacks specific range of motion measurements, something that you may or may not want to include. So whether we make suggestions about changes or make it really easy to make those changes, those are 2 directions we could take. But I'm really excited about this feature because Rio is going to validate that every billed region is backed by documentation truth. So if something's missing, Rio is going to flag it and suggest corrections. I think this matters a lot for a number of reasons, but the cohesion is important, the accuracy, it confirms charges are justified, the notes, the diagnoses, and the codes all align. Claims are going to be audit ready before submission. It really evolves you as a provider, into and the service you use as a trusted compliance partner. Right. So I mentioned it's built with KMC University and our subject matter experts and everything that we know about chiropractic, and should hopefully give you peace of mind, reinforcing payer trust. All right. And so with that, I just want to make one final just note on where we're headed. So I'm so excited. I hope this webinar gave you some more insight into what's available to you in terms of Rio and where we're headed. So it's been really fun working with really smart engineers to build out these features and to listen to you as providers. Where are we headed? So what's coming? AI Scribe is getting better. We've got better SOAP notes. and better outputs coming to you. We're going to have more flexibility with custom templates and settings. We didn't even talk about the Rio AI assistant that's also going to be coming. So this is going to help with faster scheduling and other key features. We talked about Edit with Rio. This is an open prompt to quickly make your SOAP notes better. I'm excited to get that out to you. And then we just, what you see on the screen here is compliance scan. So I think that will be a game changer as well. We've listened to you. You asked for AI features and charting, and this is just the start. So we're going to continue to deliver innovative features in other workflow areas and just move quickly as we've done in the last year. So I'm really excited for our future product direction. I hope you are as well, and I'm excited that you're on this journey with us with ChiroTouch.
Awesome. Thank you, Alec and Dr. Stephanie. Before we get to our questions from the audience, I just want to give a summary of the recap of what we covered today. What is Rio? How Rio turns your voice into ready to sign notes. How Rio takes your intake details, your new patient forms into SOAP notes. Rio can review and refine your chart notes with ease. It can summarize a patient's previous visits for an at-a-glance view. And we're working on getting real-time compliance guidance that will be coming up in the near future. And then I also want to leave up some links if you want to learn more about Rio. If you are a ChiroTouch Cloud customer and you want to join the wait list, or a Classic customer and join the wait list, you can do that here. If you're not a ChiroTouch customer, you can get in touch with us and we can get you connected with a ChiroTouch software specialist. Or if you want to explore additional services that we offer, CT Informs is a good place to start. So let's get to your questions today. Let's see. Question here. I have been testing Rio and have found it to be beneficial for re-exams and new patient visits. But for follow-up visit, how is it best used?
I can take that one. So when I did the Classic demo, that was for a daily visit. Obviously, that was a situation where I was just kind of using it as a dictation. But I mean, I actually have a very small part-time practice, obviously, because I'm with ChiroTouch all the time. But I'm in my office right now. I see patients every week, sometimes not every day, but many days. And most of my visits are regular daily visits because I just don't actually really take new patients. So I have found it to be very helpful on those visits. And it's neat because it'll listen the entire time. And so, you know, at the end of a visit, when a patient is like, oh yeah, this thing happened yesterday, or, oh, I forgot to tell you, even though it's at the end of the visit, it still knows where it goes in the sequence of a SOAP note, and it's going to put it where it belongs. So even for daily visits, I have found it to be very helpful. And so you're not limited to using it with just like new patients or exams.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Can you clarify the difference of what talents, all the things that Rio can do, will have for server-based ChiroTouch versus cloud-based ChiroTouch?
Yeah, so I can cover that. So for Classic, we're really providing you with Rio AI Scribe, right? And there's going to be slight differences between Rio AI Scribe on cloud versus Classic, right? As we look to custom templates, that might be something that's only available on cloud. And then cloud will have that full, Rio feature set. We talked about AI intake, AI summarization, edit with Rio. All those features are really part of cloud. Classic will be getting AI Scribe as we showed today.
Okay. All right, a little bit of a technical question. Will Rio recognize diversified listings like PR and PL of the vertebral segment?
Alec, did you guys train the model to do that?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, I would get in there and try it and see how it works. But what I can tell you is that we've provided, an extensive vocabulary within Chiropractic to train these models so that they're better at transcribing and the AI output is better. So it should be able to recognize those diversified listings if you specify them in the transcript, right? And so we're looking for your feedback. If you're finding differences that aren't working, we want to hear about them, and we can tweak our models to make it better for you.
I will add to that. I know I've said PI ilium, and I don't recall having an issue with it. So I think that it will, but I don't want to make any kind of guarantee here. So I'll test that actually later today and see. But I think that it will. I do want to address though one issue. I have had questions from, I think we've got this, but yeah, if you're not comfortable saying out loud what you're adjusting or announcing to the room like what your findings are, you don't have to. There is a question asking if you can use it only for subjective. You could, sure. It's still going to create the O, A, and P, but you could just erase it if you don't want to use that part. Or you could shut it off after the subjective part of your conversation if you're in a position to do that. So you can use it just for subjective if you want to. There isn't a setting for that right now, but you would just remove the other parts of the note that you didn't want to use.
Okay. All right, next question. Can we clarify the availability of Rio Scribe for classic customers or server-based customers? Just so we can clarify any confusion there might be.
Yeah,
I think
I can take that one. Yeah, so I know there's a ton of excitement about getting AI Scribe for Classic. So just to level set here, so you do need M&S or minutes and support to access this feature. We will prioritize those who have signed up on the early access waitlist, and we will start enrolling very, very soon here. So we'll start that update for those practices that are on the early access waitlist, and then we'll go to the full customer base. So we should start to do that in the next couple of weeks here. It's going to start small, and then we're going to slowly scale up as we make sure the system is stable and that we can roll out to the full base. So it will take some time over the next 3 months to get that full customer base updated.
Okay. All right, I think that takes us to time today. Dr. Stephanie and Alec, thank you so much for your time and your expertise and showing us how Rio works inside ChiroTouch. We appreciate it. Thank you all for attending and taking time out of your busy schedules. And with that, we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining.